So welcome back to Kemble. It's a couple of days after my IV treatment. I'm not feeling too bad. Bit of a rough night last night sleeping, but this morning I feel good. And I thought I'd continue the idea that we introduced a little while ago in an earlier video about food. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to our kitchen. I'm going to pop away so I can explain a few things. If you look to your right, you see that big, weird-looking steel thing. And that's our wood cooking stove. In the winter, we actually cook in there. In the summer, it just gets way too hot for us to be burning that thing. So for the most part, we tend to cook on these little butane burners that you see in the table here. Now, if you look, there's a little window, somebody you know, and she's gonna help us once again. What we're going to do today is talk a little bit about this Marmite. Not a lot of people in Canada or North America eat this stuff, but supposedly it's this wonderful thing that a lot of British and Australian people and others around the world really like. We're going to try this morning, so stick around. First impressions. It's like a shiny, deep brown liquid. What do you think? Remind you of anything?
Like Worcester.
Yeah, maybe
it's not just a liquid, it's a solid.
It doesn't have a strong smell. Okay, take a little bit as well. Now I can smell it a little bit more.
Ooh, it's salty.
My God.
It's like Swedish licorice.
The salty, sweet. It also reminds me of a really strong version, the Korean fermented paste, like miso, that type of thing. I try with a bit of cream cheese.
Balances it out a bit.
I can imagine there will be dishes where this would work. I don't know if I can get into eating this raw on its own. A bit of toast or something.
You need just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very intense.
But
it's got very deep flavor, but it's very salty.
So why are we doing this? Part of this whole process, as we mentioned before, was our approach to food. So our exploration of Marmite is actually part of an entire process that we're going through, thinking about what we eat. We were already on the track to reconsider our diet, as we get older, and also considering the many other complex issues that we face with our food chain and the overall sustainability issue. And it eventually kind of takes you to a certain place. And for us, it was to be fundamentally plant-based, although we weren't going to be orthodox about it and forbid a bunch of things. It just, when we have the choice, that we go a certain way. This became much more important when I got diagnosed, especially with colon cancer, which the basic correlations with in particular colon cancer, is with a whole bunch of foods that kind of belong on that bad list of stuff that we all know about. But if you just want to shift in terms of familiar foods but go a certain way, you end up doing a lot of this. This is pasta. We all love it. You eat too much of this, then you do get into a situation where, it gets a bit monotonic. Probably from a nutrition point of view, it's not the best for you. So you start looking at alternatives, and here's some refried beans. So anything sort of Mexican oriented. These are lentils, chickpeas, all sorts of really good stuff. Very, very good for going into more of the Middle Eastern type cuisines and Mediterranean cuisines. We really like this. It produces a lot of stuff that we really enjoy eating, and it's also good for us. Going further, so I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this. This is mung beans, split dried mung beans, and this is very common in what we would call Far Eastern cuisine, like Korean, Japanese, Chinese, that sort of thing. This is a core ingredient in what I consider to be my comfort food from my own culture. So we're now exploring the recipes that comes out of this. And the source of mung beans is the same as soybeans. So again, you know how good soybeans can be in terms of alternates. So where does Marmite fit in? As wonderful as these are, they're all characterized by one key thing. They're all really bland. And unless you do something incredibly interesting and special with them, it's a really boring diet. And that's where concepts of flavor are important to us. And that's what we're exploring with Marmite. One of the things that makes food like this taste a bit better and satisfying is, and this is a word that has come into the vernacular in the last few years, umami. Umami is a Japanese word for a savoriness or a depth of flavor, and typically characterized by stuff like this. This is soy sauce, and it is that rich combination of the salt as well as some other stuff, that more complex flavors. And it's not just an Asian thing. In fact, the Italian use of anchovies pretty much does the same thing, but takes it in a slightly different dimension. And Marmite, we hoped, could be one of those things. And it is part of our attempt to allow stuff like this to be that much more satisfying. And so far, we haven't cooked with Marmite. We're now looking at various recipes, but our explorations have been very, very good for us in many different ways. And I think from a health point of view, we're probably going in the right direction, but also during this stressful time of dealing with my own health issues, this is a wonderful diversion as well to explore the things that help you be that much better. And really, if there is a common theme through all these videos, there's an element of that, of trying to do as much as possible to take your mind off of the disease and think about things that help you respond and rebound stronger once you pass this disease. And again, I'm really fortunate that it looks like I will pass this disease, and it's not going to be in any sense a final step for me. So with that, thank you for joining us again. We will hopefully report back to you in one way or another what our explorations with Marmite, among other things, are like. Thanks.